Hello everybody, this is Kyrix with more This Week in Kyrix. Today is Tuesday, March 30th, 2020, or 2021, oh god, it's back, for the week of Wednesday, March 31st, 2021. I actually screwed that up thinking that March was a 30-day month, and decided, fuck it, we're gonna redo the whole thing. So, first off, big news, and I have to keep reminding myself of this because it matters. Tomorrow, I'm gonna see Godzilla vs. King Kong, and I am gonna love it. At least I hope I am. The good news is, unlike in the previous time, when the movie was last made, Godzilla was a monster, a bad guy, a villain. That was the third movie he was featured in continuity, and he was very destructive, and Japan didn't like him, and they needed to shut him down, etc., etc. And King Kong, likewise, was the same, where he was very destructive, although he was bigger. And I think part of the reason they let him win is, of the two monsters, he was the lesser of the two evils. Because Godzilla tended to march into Tokyo and break shit because he could. Kong tended to break shit because he was brought somewhere against his will. He was much happier back at home, you know. So they kind of necessitated that win. Well, in the legendary Monsterverse, they're both heroes. I don't think Kong is going to want to, stick around. He's going to want to go to Skull Island again. And Godzilla isn't innately destructive to humanity. I've heard things, a couple spoilers, where it's like, oh, Godzilla's evil now, etc. I'm thinking it's going to be Mechagodzilla, because that's what happened in his first appearance, and I've seen enough spoilers to know that Mechagodzilla plays some role in this movie. I've tried my best to avoid every goddamn spoiler I could, but people put shit in YouTube titles. There's really nothing I can do about that when you spend as much time on YouTube as I do in the course of a year. You know? But I'm gonna see it tomorrow. I think I'm getting like the second showing of the day. Chronologically, not in the same theater block. I'm getting the first showing of the theater block I'm going to, but the second one chronologically, because I'm opting for the 3D. Because fuck it, it's a free ticket for me. No matter where I see it, I'm gonna see it in 3D. And I'll probably see it later in IMAX and other shit like that, but for now, we're going to settle for 3D. And I'm actually going to pull up my phone and see if it's going to rain tomorrow. Because last time when I went to see Raya and the Last Dragon, I'm sitting there by a big old tub of popcorn, almost eat almost none of it. And turn around and fucking rain. I had to dump almost a complete tub of popcorn to ride my bike home in the rain. I want not 10-day weather. I want hourly. But I want it for Thursday. Well, isn't that a motherfucker? Okay, the bad news is it's gonna rain. Oh, I want Wednesday. Okay, Wednesday. It looks like a light chance of rain all day, like 15% or less. So that's good. So I've got that going for me. I have finally hit some fucking financial stability, and it's good. I actually have money for luxury things, I have money for stupid things, and I have money for the things I actually need money for. Robert, in the next hour or two, is going to come by. We're going to do shopping for here and work clothes, like I need new socks, because I've destroyed mine, just sheer wear and tear. New shorts, new pants, etc. Get some groceries. They finally, because I had to renew my food stamps this month. This is my last month for it, and they're like, okay, we've been giving you $19 a month plus enough to take it up to the max, which is $235. And apparently this time they just said, fuck it, just give them the $235. So I'm still going to get $235 a month. The difference is now there's none of this bullshit where I get 19 on the 4th, and then 0 to 6 days later I get the rest of it. I just get the whole thing, so I can go grocery shopping when I get them. and not this thing of like, well, I can have one good meal, or I can plan for famine for the next 10 days, you know. Because, as you may recall, in March I had no money for most of the month. The main reason it seems I'm sitting so pretty now is I effectively got 3 checks in the span of a week and a half. So, all that's taken care of. I have purchased a new laptop that I will supposedly be using specifically for gaming, because unlike before, there's really nothing wrong with this laptop. The only thing wrong is the screen's frame is a little cracked. Not the screen itself, the frame, the plastic holding it, and I've kind of sticky puttied that together so it stays. But it still runs, still does pretty much everything it ever did. It does a little slower than I'd like, but it still runs. So the new laptop will be for gaming and Discord stuff, possibly recording higher quality things in sync as opposed to this one, which does not, which will open up a whole new world of video game recording for me. I have in the past week purchased something like 10 new games. Notably, I was watching... I don't know who it was. I think it was Callie. Callie from HoloLive was playing the new... I'm going to say Harvest Moon, but it's called Story of Seasons. Apparently Story of Seasons is the company or the game title that originally held Harvest Moon, and then someone else bought the name Harvest Moon and forced it. Basically, it's a different production company. It's kind of like how in the beginning Night of the Living Dead was one franchise, and then Romero got The Dead, Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Land of the Dead, Diary of the Dead, etc. Whereas the other guy got Living Dead, Return of the Living Dead 1, 2, 3, etc. Where they both, to a degree, use the first movie as a branching point, or as their focal point, but they're 2 different franchises. Apparently Harvest Moon and Story of Seasons are the same way. Well, I happen to have bought it on the Switch, because I saw it... I don't know if I saw it in my feed, or if... I know Callie playing it put it in my head, and then I saw it, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get it. And then I had to put money on my account again, because I remembered, oh yeah, I've got money on my account. And I need it for Pokemon Snap when that comes out. There is a high-ish degree of possibility that I will finally break my Mario ban and buy Mario Kart 8. And that is solely because I was watching Korone. That's who it was. I was about to say it was one of the girls I really like. Korone playing Mario Kart 8 with her viewers, and it has like her friend code on there, and I'm thinking, you know, this is something I could legitimately be a part of. And it wouldn't be the first time. Like, I played a match of them fighting herds with Zito from Team 4 Star. It was pretty cool. Due to the difference in our ping, it was laggy as crap, but come on, I got to play with a member of Team 4 Star. And this is a case of, hey, I can race a member of HoloLive, you know. The downside is... Well, not the downside. One thing I felt bad about is Korone's apparently not very good at Mario Kart. Like, she continuously places, like, third from last or worse. Like, she usually finished dead last in the races, and I felt bad for her. But she's still having fun. And I'm willing to chalk some of that up to that being a mostly English stream, so she didn't exactly have her mind as much on the racing as she should. But that's a game I bought. I bought the new Atelier game. I cannot remember what it is. I've been seeing her game all over Facebook. It was the sequel, and I'm like, wow, I like her design. So I got that in the first one, and then I noticed that the Arland series, which was Atelier Rorona, Maruru, and Totori, which I own on PS3, was on sale as a bundle. I'm like, fuck it, I'll grab that too. And I finally bought Chocobo's Dungeon Everybody. That is B-U-D-D-Y, not Everybody. And I've been meaning to buy this game since before it came out, since I had the chance to reserve it. Something more frugal's like, oh, Kyrix, don't spend $40 on this yet. You need it for this, or this, you know. And then I got a stimulus, and then it didn't happen, and then another stimulus, and it didn't happen. And this time I'm like, you know what? If I keep putting this off, I will never own this game, so now I own this game. Plus, there were also There's a thing? I don't know why, but there's a thing PlayStation's doing. They call Play From Home, where it's somewhat like PlayStation Plus, but it's free for everybody. So basically, you go in, you download these games for free, and once you've downloaded them, they're yours. But if you miss them, you miss them. They're not just going to stay free forever. So I grabbed them all. I only installed a couple. I haven't played any of them yet, but I have them. Because you never know. You absolutely never know when a game on there is going to become something important to you, like how Overcooked and Dead by Daylight became very big games for me. So, because I would not, at the time it was free, have gotten Dead by Daylight under any circumstances, because I heard a couple things about it. I'm like, oh, that doesn't sound like something. That sounds super stressful, and it was. But, you know, and then Overcooked, it looked like a stupid little phone game to me, and then I got to see it played. I'm like, wow, this looks like a lot of fun. And with Dead by Daylight, I saw, I want to say it was Jacksepticeye with Markiplier, Wade, and Bob playing together, and I think it was Jack as Michael Myers, and I'm like, oh, I want that. I want this game, and I want that killer. And that's how Freddy and Michael became my first two killers. I was a Michael main for a while, and I switched over to Freddy. And yeah, it's a good game. So I just have this habit, and I've always had this habit of get it now, you never know. Like, if it had allowed me, I was going to get Bug Snacks for PS5 when it was free. I had no idea what the hell Bug Snacks was. I didn't know why I would want to play it, but I'm like, it sounds kind of stupid, but fuck it, it could be cute. It could be a good game, and fuck it, it's a free game, you know. Then I watched Kaiser Neko from Team 4-Star play, and I'm like, wow, this is actually a really good game. I intend at some point to Let's Play it, but don't expect any surprises from me, because I've seen Kaiser fucking play through it, and he got the good ending, so. But yeah, there's that. I mentioned... Did I mention the new computer? I think I mentioned the new computer. When Robert comes to get me, the plan was I was going to get clothing, groceries, and a new computer. And I had a friend who basically was... I was asking them for advice while they were asleep. And they got back to me after I messaged Robert, basically telling me that... the thing that my store had in stock was not good for gaming, so I'm like, ugh. So I just hit the internet. I hit the Walmart store and showed 3 different computers. They're like, yeah, pick that one. Of the ones you showed me, that's the best one. I'm like, is it better than what I had? And they're like, oh, hell yes. So I grabbed it. About $380. It's not top of the line, but it's better than what I'm running. And I'm not really asking much of it. I'm not asking for fucking AAA games. I just want to play fucking Cooking Simulator and Barotrauma and maybe Phasmophobia and shit like that with my friends. That's all I want to do. I want to play a couple computer games with my friends and 1 or 2 by myself without the computer lagging the fuck out, and I would also be nice if I could run Discord with it without it lagging the fuck out. Because right now, I cannot run Discord, Steam, and my browser at the same time. Part of that is because I literally have 50 tabs open across 4 different windows, or across 8 different windows on the browser, because I can't commit to shit. But the point remains, I should be able to open a couple browsers and Steam and Discord without the computer freaking the fuck out, because once upon a time, it was able to do that, and just through sheer wear and tear, it cannot. But this Saturday, I am due to stream with Wombat. So far, it's just HeroClix. Could drift into other games as well. 2 HeroClix matches have been confirmed. That is to say, my Age of Ultron match. I will be playing the original 6 Avengers. That is Iron Man, Ant-Man, Wasp, Hulk, Thor, and Captain America. And he will be playing just Team Ultron. 1 Ultron, 2 Ultron drones, Jocasta as an entity, Alchema, and Vision. So he will technically have 1 less figure on the board than me, but he will still have 6 people. And that's a reasonably even match. We're also doing a utility belt match, where I will be playing my team. Which, fuck it, I'll say it. I'm playing the Rogues from the Flash. Won't say which ones, but I'm playing them. And his team has yet to be announced. He hasn't told me, so I haven't been able to put it together yet. I'm also in the process of putting together 9 War of Light teams, one for each of the Lantern Corps. I have done the Black and Red Lantern Corps teams already. I still have to do orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, and white. And I will make these 9 teams and put them together and put them in a little baggie and basically say, okay, here's the deal, dude. Each of these teams exists. You can pick one, or I can literally leave them in the bag, hit shuffle, and we each pick one out at random. Just grab the bag and pull, you know. And we'll see what happens. One way or the other, it's due to be pretty good. And from there, that might be it. We might do Barrow Trauma. We might do more Hero Clicks. Maybe rematches, switch teams. I don't know. We might do some other games. I just bought him a couple. Like, he has Monster Prom and Monster Camp now. He has Overcooked 1 and 2, and I should possibly have my new controller by then. The Steam controller still works. I specifically wanted a PlayStation-style controller, so I had something I was physically more adapted to for games like that. And so on. Plus, there's 1,000,005 other games on Tabletop Simulator we could play together, like the Jaws board game, which eats up about an hour and a half in and of itself. So I don't know how the Saturday stream's gonna go, but it's gonna go, and it should be fun. Let me take my notes here. Take a look at my notes. They're not really notes, it's just the description of the video. Talked about the shopping, talked about the new computer, talked about the financial stability, and more or less talked about the gaming too. Well, shit. So, I'm thinking I'm going to start with the Arland trilogy on my extra recordings, as I continuously push Final Fantasy VII further on the back burner so I don't have to touch it. I don't want to play it at all. But, you know, I have to get to it eventually. So, Rorona is the only one of the Arland trilogy I have played and beaten. So what I'm doing is I'm playing a game on my own time. I'm actually about, like, almost halfway through it already. It's a reasonably short game. It's designed for replay value, basically. And the main reason for this is because, unlike the other 2 games in this franchise that I played, which was Mana Khemia 1 and Mana Khemia 2, there's a time limit. And technically there's a time limit on those. You see calendar days, you know what I mean? For Mana Khemia. But in MK, let's call it MK, or let's call it Mana. In Mana, the days don't really end. Like, you go on, and they might actually be weeks and not days. But, like, you go into an area, and there's a day-night cycle where during the day the monsters are relatively decent, and at night they get more aggressive and they're harder to kill. Like, there's a first strike system where if you hit them, you get the first strike. You hit them before they run into you on the map, that is. And once you get to a certain power threshold, if you hit them, they'll flat out die. Like, they'll appear as blue instead of pink. Because there are a couple different versions of them. Like, there's these normal little blobs, there's blobs with a little angler thing on them, and then there's really big scary ones, etc. But when they're pink, if you hit them, you'll start a fight. If they're blue and you hit them, they die. Well, an enemy that might be a blue blob during the day will be a pink blob at night. You know what I mean? But the day-night cycle doesn't really affect anything. Like, you can sit on the same map for 20 in-game days and not lose a bit of time. Whereas Rorona, it's kind of the same way, except the day-night system's gone. But moving from area to area costs you days, and you're generally in a 90-day cycle. Like, you have 90 days to complete this many things. And you're managing so many things. Like, on the one hand, you have to get your alchemy done, but the problem is, every time you perform alchemy, it takes not only your energy, but your time. It takes days to do certain things. And unlike in mana, where, let's say I were to synthesize an iron ingot, or just an ingot, right? And I were to synthesize it to 80 quality. Well, until I manually resynthesize it, every single one I make will be 80 quality, and all the ones I find will be 80 quality. Well, in this one, quality's done by batch. Like, if I make a batch of 5 ingots that are 80 quality, they'll all be that. But the next one might be 30 quality, or 100 quality, you know? And each one has different traits, so it's not so much that you want high quality necessarily. Sometimes you want different traits. Like, you might have an ingot, oh, this is an 80 quality ingot. Yeah, that's nice, but you might have a 20 quality ingot with +2 to all stats. And that's probably the better one for you. You know, or like attack +10, or Puni Repeller, which makes the Puni enemies take more damage from your attacks, which is a good one. Because those little fuckers are everywhere in the initial parts of the game. And part of it was me misremembering, because I had fused the two games in my head, that you have this time limit between things, but there's also a day-night cycle. So when I first played the game, I felt incredibly rushed and panicked. Well, now I'm a little smarter, even though it's like 5 or 6 years later, and I haven't since the last time I touched the game. But I feel more secure in my gameplay and more relaxed. Like, there's only been a couple points where it's like, oh my god, I have to do this now. And even those cases were a case of trying to get bonus conditions so that I could get better items before they expired. It's not a big deal. I will definitely be playing at least one round. I will almost certainly play at least a second round, and we'll go from there to see how many endings I get and how much stuff there is to do. When I get around to Totori and Maruru, which I believe is the order they're played in, and I'm probably mispronouncing those names because I only played Totori for like 10-20 minutes when I first got it. And that was ages ago, and it didn't leave a huge impression on me. And I don't remember how her name was pronounced, and I haven't touched Maruru at all. But those will be blind, and I don't know how thoroughly I'll play them. Ditto, the other two Atelier games that I have will also be blind. The 1 and the 2. I don't know if there's a New Game Plus feature, I don't know if there's extra endings, and I don't know if I'll play beyond the 1 round, but I will play it. There are plans to do Chocobo in there as well. I have a couple other games. You have to understand, in the past month, I have bought somewhere in the neighborhood of between 15 and 30 new games. I don't even know what I own right now. I kind of have to go in and catalog what all I have. And then on top of that, in this past month, I got a hold of Wombat, and he's like, hey, you want to do streams with me? And while that's not technically my content, that is content I am participating in and planning for and getting hyped for. You know, I mean, the fucking Barotrauma was a 5.5 hour stream. That is a long period of time. It was planned to be an 8-hour stream. That's a third of the day gone, you know? On top of that, when I got contact with Sammy, she got her computer back, she's feeling a little more perky and confident, her internet's better, etc. She wants to start doing recordings, as in her own stuff, and possibly my stuff as well. So, if she does recordings, I've volunteered to be a part of her content. And on top of that, I have, I'm in a Barotrauma Discord where occasionally people drag me into games, or I start a game. And then the Star Trek League just started back up with another round that's coming up. So I've got to build for that, and I've got to have those matches, and it just kind of steamrolls. Plus my friend in the next week or so, who I was playing Blackout Club in the Forest with, will be moved into her place and back into gaming. So it's a very hectic, busy-ass time, and quite frankly, I fucking love it. I have bought several new DVDs, or movies in this case as well, like... physically, I bought the new RoboCop. That's not the new RoboCop I'm looking at, but it serves. I bought the Willow movie with all the special features, and I bought the Jurassic Park 5-movie collection with everything that's out right now. I went on Vudu and bought Godzilla 2014, just so that I'd have them all on Vudu for easy marathoning, which I need to do tonight, because the movie's tomorrow. Fuck! Just scatterbrained. I bought Deep Impact because it was on sale, and I liked that movie. I saw the Lord of the Rings trilogy and the Hobbit trilogy in extended and bought those, because I already have them in a box set, but they're not the extended. And I bought episode 5 because I have to make that video. I don't want to make that video, but I have to make that video. And to make that video properly, I need to watch the movie. And I don't want to watch the movie because it fucking sucks. It's the worst movie in the franchise. Fight me. Matter of fact, that's the whole point of the video, is me telling you, hey, this movie is hot garbage in a wet bag, and here's why. Literally, let me just take a look at this script that I have written, and I don't script shit, but I'm looking at something along the lines of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold on. Seven written paragraphs. It's probably more like 15, given how big some of these paragraphs are. Of rant about this movie and how bad it is. And granted, the first 4 are just set up. Like, the first one is just me talking about the fact that this video needs to be made. The second paragraph, which again is more like 2 or 3 paragraphs, is me telling you my history with the movie and the franchise in general. And then the rest of that is all rant about the movie. And you might be thinking, well, it's a movie. Of course you're going to have like 15 paragraphs. These 15 paragraphs are all about the movie before a single human being is seen on screen. That's how much content I have for the opening crawl and the scene of the Star Destroyer spitting out probe droids. 15 fucking paragraphs. This is a bad movie. And it's about time people find that out. And I'll admit, even it took me 30-something years to figure out that this is actually a bad movie, and then to figure out just how bad. Because I always thought, it's not as good as the others, but it's not a bad movie. And then I started thinking, it really is kind of a bad movie. It's not that bad, but it's a bad movie. And then I looked at the movie again, I'm like, oh my god, it's that bad, and possibly worse. There is just no end of shit I can talk about this movie. Like, I'm willing to bet this is going to be longer than the runtime of the movie itself. Like, you will... If I were to do a director's commentary, from the studio logos all the way to the fade to black after the credits, I don't think there would be enough footage to keep up with the shit I have to say about this movie. But you never know. And if there were some way to do it, I'd love to do it, but there's no way to do it. Part of the thing that's delayed this for several months, I think this got started in like October or something of 2020, if not sooner, is the simple fact that I couldn't find a legal way to get a digital download of this movie to use for footage. I mean, I could think of several illegal ways, and even a couple ways to accomplish them, but I don't want to. I want to do this by the books. I want to give them money and get my MP4 and make my goddamn video. I'm not looking to distribute this shit illegally, and I'm not looking to use enough movie to get me copyright struck. Hell, I'm probably not even going to put the sound on the movie clips unless it's relevant, but I guess this saves me editing. But that's a thing I have to do. But God, I've got so much shit to do. I gotta watch Skull Island again. I don't want to watch Skull Island. I actually did watch Skull Island. Well, watch in quote marks. I have this habit of putting shit on as background noise and doing something else. I listened to Skull Island in my headphones while playing Barrel Trauma. I put it on the big TV, plug my headphones into my controller so that it would come from the PS4, and listen to Skull Island while playing Barrel Trauma for 2 hours or so. So it's... I at least have the vocals of it in my head. There's really not a lot I need to see again, but yeah. In case you don't know, I'm not a big Kong fan. I never have been. He just bores me. I mean... Come on. Dinosaurs are more entertaining than monkeys, right? And I'm not trying to disparage gorillas. I've seen gorillas. They're wonderful animals. They really are. But they're not good kaiju. They're boring. They're just strong. I'm sorry. Anything at that size is fucking strong, or it would collapse under its own weight. And Godzilla breathes fire and does all sorts of cool shit and fights monsters that do all sorts of cool shit. And Kong chases women. Kong is Pepe Le Pew. It's just meh. But yeah, that movie's coming out tomorrow. I've got that to look forward to. I've got the stream with Wombat. I've got TV watching and other shit with Sammy. Felicia's going to be doing stuff possibly online tonight as well, like more Monster Prom. Might talk about a Barrel Trauma. Might watch some stuff. Ruby Season 8 just finished, so we gotta watch that at some point, which I'm fine with, but I don't think my friend will handle it so well. Without getting too spoilery, it's another downer like Season 3 was. A lot of bad things happen to a lot of people on all sides. There is exactly one faction I can think of that got out of this without losing somebody. So... lot of dead characters. And I am very interested to see where they go from this. I want to see what Season 9 turns into. I don't know if my friend will be, but I am. I want to see where this goes. Because even when you have a fairy tale movie, everything's not always happily ever after. Especially when there's still more movie to show. Like, if you cut Snow White off after that apple, that's a very downer ending. But you keep watching till the credits, and you get something a little better. And that's kind of what Ruby's supposed to be. It's very dark. And I don't like that it has consistently been very dark for a very long time. Because you do need moments where shit goes right. And Season 7 was very hard for us to get through. Because I had a lot of issues getting motivated enough to watch Season 7 at times. Because shit seemed to be cascading exponentially against their favor. You know, like, it just... It didn't rain, it didn't pour, it fucking monsooned. And it's very hard to sit through something where the hits keep coming and there's no relief in sight, and then the relief came and you just felt relief. Because even while it still ended kind of badly, there was light at the end of that tunnel. And then Season 8 tried to keep it alive, and well, I'll leave it to you to figure out how well they did. I don't particularly see it as being as bleak as it seems, but I could see a lot of people flat out giving up on this thing ever turning out well. You know? But, bitch, I read Animorphs, okay? that series, oh boy, you read Animorphs, it's just this goofy little thing. You keep reading Animorphs and it gets fucking tragic. You read the end of Animorphs, and it kind of breaks you a little bit. And it's one of those. And I mean, I also watched Chrono Crusade, and that'll tear you up quite a bit. On a lighter note, and this has nothing to do with me, this is something I discovered while at Wendy's today waiting for my food. By the way, the Baconator is a motherfucker of a sandwich. I picked that thing up. That thing has weight to it. It's probably the heaviest sandwich I've ever eaten on purpose that I didn't make myself. Was on Facebook, and the guy who writes the Oatmeal, if you don't know what the Oatmeal is, it's this comic series, and they're a mix of funny, irreverent, downright bizarre, and educational. And sometimes they're all of those things at once. Like, there was a thing about how cool it was that they were sending a robot to Mars that was solely just to drill into the planet and get samples. And how there was something like called, I think it was like the 8 or 10 minutes of panic, where there was no contact and Mission Control had no way to know how things were going until it either crashed or landed. And just imagining the level of celebration when it touched down safely. He also does stuff like, is your cat planning to kill you, you know, stuff like that. Well, he's also done one that I think is funny, and he has kind of a gross-out style, art style at sometimes. His art can vary, but he tends to do that, not because he doesn't have talent, I think it amuses him, because it's very emphasized. It's something he's doing intentionally. And he did one little webcomic that was fun, like, what if dogs were middle-aged men? And hearing the dialogue for these dog men is fucking hilarious. Like, okay, you're getting ready to poop. Now, walk around 3 times in a circle. Find a child and keep eye contact with him as you poop. And you just see this child just tearing up and crying and letting go of his balloon and shit. It's great. Well, he wrote a webcomic. I call it a webcomic. It's not. It's just a little one-note thing. It's just one page and done. Well, not one web page and done. It's several panels long. It probably could be a small comic book by itself. But he wrote a little comic called My Dog the Paradox. And it's shit like, you know, my dog isn't afraid of intruders, but he's terrified of a hairdryer, you know. He hates the mailman, but if you're an axe murderer, he'll be your best friend. Shit like that, right? About how weird his dog Rambo was. And, well, Rambo was put down Sunday. That was, I believe, the 28th of March, 2021. He was fine Saturday, and then Sunday he just got sick, and he took him in, and he had like bowel tumors or something, and when they put him under to perform surgery, it turns out that he was basically past the point of no return. The cancer had gotten into his other organs, he was hemorrhaging internally, and they just made the decision to never wake him back up. And so this is just a little shout out to him and his dog Rambo. You know, he's not going to care, he doesn't watch my channel. And neither does anyone else, but it's just something I felt I would bring up because it happened today. That's actually what happened with Riddles. I don't even think I had a channel when Riddles was alive. Matter of fact, I don't even think my music videos were a thing when Riddles was alive, because she died a long time ago. And this channel's only 7 years old, so that's, what, 2020... No, not 2020. Let's say 2014 or so. So let's maybe back 3 years up to 2011 or so for when my channel was. Yeah, Riddles was long dead by the time my channel started. I had Kisa actually, and yeah, that's how Riddles was. One day, she was fine, and the next day, she had no energy, and I told Mom. Mom made the vet appointment, not telling me this part anyway. She told me with the vet appointment, but she was basically sure that Riddles wasn't coming home alive. and it turns out she had suffered kidney failure, and she was way too far gone to even attempt surgery. They're like, if you want to do this, we'll do this, but we're going to tell you the chances of this working are basically non-existent, you know. So we just made the decision to put her down. And that, by the way, is why Kisa, Oreo, Willow, Winkles, Betsy, and Maya are all on wellness plans, and why those wellness plans include kidney screening. Because, yeah, I'm not having that shit happen again. That's why one of the things that stressed me out the most of 2020, a year that was oddly not that stressful for me personally, was the fact that the girls had not gone to the vet in forever. And it was a very huge relief for me when they came back with a clean bill of health, other than my being a little fat. So, but yeah. So it's very important out there, if you've got pets, get them to the vet on a regular basis, like once or twice a year for the checkups. And yes, I know the vet's expensive. Try and find someone who has some kind of payment plan or wellness plan. The girls, for the 5 of them, are costing me about $225 a month, if my math is correct, which adds up to about blah 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 blah. What does that add up to? About $45 a pet, which isn't a lot when you consider what kind of discounts and free shit you get. Like, yeah, I'm paying $225 a month, but every vet visit is like $8,000 without it. And instead I walk away paying not a goddamn penny. You know what I mean? So yes, I understand it's expensive, and I have been the poor bastard who could barely afford to get litter, much less anything else, but I absolutely implore every pet owner to get their pet to the vet, because there is so much shit that your pet could die from, where simply medicating them before it even starts could make all the difference in the world. If Riddles had seen the vet on a regular basis and gotten kidney screenings, they could have told me something was wrong long before it got to the point where it killed her. Kisa, if he had not been deathly ill with upper respiratory and I'd taken him in and gotten the wellness plan where they pitched it for me, he never would have been on the kidney screenings, and I might never have known that he was diabetic. And I'd have kept feeding him his cat food, and he'd have fucking wasted away, and I'd have never known why. I'm still not sure what actually killed him, because it would have been something like $4,000 to autopsy him, and I mean, at that point, whatever killed him, it killed him. It wasn't communicable. It's not like Oreo and Honey and the dogs could have caught it, so I just kind of let it go. I just chalked it up to one of those sad mysteries of life. But yeah. Anyway, let's immediately pivot to something fun. I am talking with Sammy just in general about getting her gaming going. I'm gonna gradually find out like what kind of things she wants to record, whether she wants to be the recorder, guest star on my shit, do both, you know. With a little work, I could get sort of a coalition of things going. If this computer works as well as I'm hoping it will encourage me to get more games on Steam, because there's a lot of games I want that are only on PC that I haven't bought because this computer cannot fucking handle them. And a couple of them I bit the bullet and bought anyway. But like, I would love to play Raft. I own it. I do. Computer can't run it though. It just won't. I'd love to play Phasmophobia. I'd love to play Satisfactory. I own that too, but computer can't run it. I own Cooking Simulator with all the DLC. Can't run it. You know? There's so many games on my Steam list that I can't run, but would love to play, and so many more that I'd love to put on my Steam list But I don't, because I can't play them and I can't justify spending that level of money, you know. And I would love to get a bunch of these dumb games. Like, I'd love to take Think of the Children and get a 4-player game of that going. I'd love to get a 4-player game or of whatever of We Need to Go Deeper. I'd love to get a recording of Barotrauma, like once a week kind of thing, for like 2 hours or something like that. You know? I don't think I ever want to get to the point where I'm live streaming, but I'd love to get to the point where I'm putting out that much content. Like, if I were to get hired by a company like HoloLive, not necessarily like a VTuber company, but a company like that, where like, oh, you got to put out this much a week, I would just ask, does it have to be streams? Because I don't have a problem with fan engagement, but I would rather do recordings where I can record tons of crap and just upload it throughout the year. Like, I could spend, if I really wanted to, if I wanted to commit to this, I could spend 8 days just chunking out footage in like 4-hour blocks of recording, like let's make it 2-hour blocks, where I'd get like three half-hour recordings at a time. It's like, okay, for this 2 hours I'm working on this, for this 2 hours I'm working on this, etc. You give me 8 days, and I could give you about 6 months of content out of those 8 days, you know? Or something along those lines where I could just go, you know? And if I had an editor, I could take it a step further, like I did with the Resident Evil 7 Revenge run, where I just hit record and never stopped, you know? Or rather, I hit record, I'd stop the footage, and then immediately start it up, or I'd pee and then start it up. Well, I could make footage where I record for like 7 straight hours, and then have someone chop it up like how the Runaway guys do. Because they'll do like 5 and 7 hour recording sessions, and then they'll go take a lunch break or some shit. That's why every now and then you'll hear one of them crunching on something in the background, or one will get up to use the bathroom, because they're gaming for 7 fucking hours, and they get a lot out of that. Which is why they almost never have intros at the front of their videos like they used to. Because back in the day, during like the Super Mario 3D World kind of thing, or the Super Mario whatever on the Wii, they would do intros for every video, and then they shifted to a format where they just chunk shit out and then dice it up later. And it's a good format. It's basically the format I use, but without the chunking, where they'll record something like a year in advance and then have tons of content, where they'll basically meet up like a couple times a year and mass record like 4 or 5 projects, and then just kind of release it as it goes. And I need to get back to the point where I'm doing that too. Well, I'm not meeting anyone. And this computer could be the key to doing that, and I would love for it to be the key to doing that. And since I have my Dropbox and shit, it could be a whole lot easier on my recording. Could just upload shit to that and then sort it out later as need be. You know, parse it out, that kind of shit. And I think as time goes on, I could just buy more space on Dropbox, or buy more portable hard drives and shit like that. It's good shit. And anyway, see, what I really wish I could do is get Dropbox on the PlayStation and just put all my media files on that and sort that shit out later. But I don't think it'll let me do that. It'd be nice though. But yeah, there's a lot of shit just over the horizon that I need to get to recording. Every now and then I'll get back on and do the baseline recordings for Star Trek. And potentially, it depends on Sammy. Because I told her basically, you know, because she has Star Trek Online, because ages ago I was going to have her as part of the Let's Play. I'm going to tell her basically, if you want in on this, I'll still try and help you out. Basically what I'm going to do, since they changed the system on me, is I will, what's the word? Basically, I'm going to figure out how much things she needs. And we're gonna... I'll send her like a thing to get the Zen for it, so that she could sell it for the dilithium she needs. And then buy whatever ship she wants to use then off it, and we'll just kind of go from there. But it'll sure as fuck save me recording time, that's for sure. You alright, Betsy? You've been coughing a lot lately. It's okay, baby. So, yeah. It's okay. Anyway. Like I said, there's a lot of games on the horizon in the future. A lot of potential content as well. Like I will be doing... matter of fact, depending on if my computer can manage Discord, XSplit, and my Steam, and the games on Steam, because it might, I might do some recordings like that. Like, I might do a recording of Barrel Trauma or whatever while Wombat's streaming it. Or I will, while they're live streaming my Trek matches, I'll be recording them, kind of a thing. And doing recordings with Sammy like that as well. And we'll see. There's lots of ways this can go, and I won't know until Thursday how this can go. So, wish me luck, and I am peering over the cat, watching the yellow bar catch up to the blue bar. Tucking so we don't have a lot of fucking dead air. Which is funny, because in the next minute I'm going to have to turn into the Micro Machines guy and just really quickly hammer out what last thoughts I had before hitting the stop button. I just wish there was more ways of watching old commercials. Who knew when I was a kid that someday I'd wish that my grandma hadn't cut all those commercials? Well, it doesn't matter now whether she did or not. Those tapes are long since gone, and even if they weren't thrown out and deteriorated and whatever, I have no machine with which to play them. And even if I did, the wires aren't compatible with these TVs, so I couldn't watch them anyway. There are websites that have commercials and shit, and I do want to watch those. I feel so old that I like watching Lucagen's commercial streams. I could watch that woman watch commercials all damn day. Anyway, that is the last of this. Bye-bye, everybody.